Hi, sixth graders. Today you are going to be doing your notes on minerals. You already watched the video as a class with doing the flow chart with the characteristics of minerals. So today we're going to be focusing on the back of the sheet, which is the mineral ID notes. So before we talk about minerals, we're just going to talk a little bit about elements. So elements are substances that are made up of entirely of one type of atom. There are 118 of them, and 92 of them are found naturally occurring on Earth, and the rest of them are made by people. And so maybe you've seen the periodic table of elements. These are all of the different elements that exist on Earth in the universe that we know of, in fact. And all of these elements combine in different ways to make everything that we know. And so depending on how many of each and the ratios and which ones are combined, that's what makes up everything that exists. Only 8 of the naturally occurring elements are abundant. That means that they're what make up most of Earth's crust. So those are oxygen, silicon, aluminum, iron, calcium, sodium, and potassium. And these elements combine to make, well, they make everything, but they also combine to make minerals. So you might be wondering if you use any minerals in your life. Well, here's a picture showing how many pounds of minerals, of different types of minerals, metals, and fuels that you will use in your lifetime. So if you want to pause the video to look at what some of those are, you can do that. The next slide is showing all the words that are in the black font are showing different names of minerals. And then underneath it in the red, you can see some different places where they are used. I know it's kind of hard to see. So we've already watched this video, so we're going to skip that. This was the characteristics of a mineral. So from your flow chart, just to review, the characteristics of a mineral are that they're inorganic, so they were never living or made from the remains of living things. They're naturally occurring, so they can't be man-made. They're solid. They have a crystal structure, and they have a definite chemical composition. So how do we go about identifying minerals? So let's start by watching this guy again in a video.
We can find 5 properties of minerals that are diagnostic that will tell us what a mineral is. Just like fruit, there are a lot of different ways that we can describe a mineral. We can use a mineral's color, which, just like a fruit, you pick up a red apple or a yellow lemon, it's kind of easy to figure out what fruit you're dealing with. But in the mineral world, the problem is that many minerals actually have multiple colors. So of all of the properties, color is the one you don't want to lean on as much. The second one, though, is the hardness of a mineral. And just like in some cases, like you've got this acorn squash here that's very hard, or this cantaloupe that's very hard, and you may have this peach over here, which is very soft. Minerals have different variations in their hardness. And in 1812, a German named Friedrich Mohs came up with a list of minerals that were ranked in order of hardness from 1 to 10. We call it the Mohs hardness scale. And each one of these minerals has a different hardness. A harder mineral will scratch a softer mineral. And we also have things like knife blades, pennies, and iron files or nails that we can use that have specific hardnesses of their own, that we can actually physically scratch minerals to see, well, yes, it did scratch it, so it must be softer than a penny, or it must be softer than an iron file, or softer than a knife blade, and so on and so forth. And what it allows us to do is categorize the minerals based on relatively how hard or soft they are. That helps us to get to which mineral group that we're dealing with. But we really need more information than that. So the next step is to look at what we call the luster of a mineral. The luster of a mineral is basically how shiny a mineral is, or how light reflects off the surface of the mineral. And if I use fruit as an example, here you can see this apple is actually very shiny. Light reflects easily off of the surface of this apple. But the peach looks quite dull. And as light hits the peach, it gets diffused and absorbed, and it doesn't reflect back to your eye strongly. So we can look at minerals and classify them based on whether they're very shiny minerals and they reflect a lot of light, or if they're very dull minerals like this one that absorb light or let it pass through. Another thing that we can look at is the shape of the mineral. And just like when you see a lemon, you always know it's a lemon because it's got that goofy lemon shape. In crystals, because of the unique order that every mineral has in its crystalline structure, they have unique shapes. For example, this feldspar creates angles that we can identify and measure, or this selenite crystal, this gypsum crystal, you can see lines and angles. What we call that is cleavage. And every mineral breaks along weakness planes within the crystalline structure. And so we get unique shapes that form over and over again. So sort of like a fruit, we can look at the shapes that are produced by minerals and help identify which kind of mineral it is. Finally, we can think about the density of the mineral. Some minerals are very heavy and include ores of things like lead, which is a heavy metal. In other cases, we have minerals that are very light, again, like this piece of aragonite, which is quite light, or talc or gypsum. We can look at the relative density of the minerals and also categorize. So once we've figured out all these different properties, we can identify which set of properties belongs with which mineral. That helps us identify the name of that mineral and also the constituents within it.
All right, so here were an overview of the mineral identification tests: color, hardness, streak, luster, and cleavage or fracture. So color, this is where you're going to start your notes. This refers to the color of the mineral, but it's not a good way to identify a mineral because some minerals can come in many colors. Some minerals can become weathered or change color when they're exposed to air, and many minerals are the same colors. But it still can help us to identify a mineral, so it's still useful to note when you're trying to figure out what a mineral is. Streak is the color of a mineral in its powdered form. Streak does not change even if the color of the mineral itself changes. It's not affected by weathering. A mineral streak is always the same. And to find the streak, you just take it against a little white streak plate, it's called. It's a little porcelain plate, and you just draw a line with it and see what color it is. Luster is the way a mineral reflects light. So we describe minerals as either being metallic or non-metallic. So metallic minerals are shiny, they reflect light. And non-metallic are not shiny or dull. And you can see some examples in the pictures there. Hardness is a mineral's resistance to being scratched, and we use a scale called Mohs hardness scale. And you can see on this that talc is the softest mineral with a 1, and a diamond is the hardest mineral with a 10. And what we do when we're trying to test the hardness is we take different objects that have known hardnesses and we try to scratch our mineral with it or have the mineral scratch it. So for example, for your fingernail, you would try to scratch it with your fingernail and see if you could. A copper piece, you would want to take the mineral and try to scratch the copper piece with the mineral and see if it makes a mark. A steel nail, you would take the nail and scratch on the mineral and see if it makes a mark. And then glass, can the mineral make a scratch mark on the glass? And then what you would use is this dichotomous key to determine the different hardness ranges. And we'll practice this when we do the lab in class. We can also use cleavage and fracture. And cleavage and fracture explains the way a mineral breaks. And cleavage is the tendency of a mineral to split along specific planes, forming smooth, flat surfaces. Where fracture is when it's the tendency of a mineral to break unevenly into pieces with rough, irregular surfaces. So what you're looking for is, are there flat surfaces on the side, or is it kind of more randomly broken? And here are some different pictures of some different examples of cleavage, how minerals that have cleavage look. Usually it's pretty obvious that they're split along flat planes. Some more cleavage. This kind of peels off in layers. We'll look at this one in our lab. Here's fracture. It's more like a random rock. So 2. And that's it. So your note should be done. After this, you can go ahead and play the blue kit.